Chapter 3. Leaving Home. Jade finished applying the medicine to Sajay and bandaged him up. He was in a state to leave soon, but she still needed answers from him. She couldn't bring herself to ask. She was afraid. Magic, even with all it could do, is straightforward in some respects. Only two types of people are able to use magic: those who are born with it, and those who have the potential from birth but lack the ability to produce it on their own. People from the latter category, known as Sargais, are able to hold a small amount of magic to cast spells, but still need to recharge their energy through other magical means. Normal magic wielders' bodies naturally replenish their energy over time. Jade knew she fell into neither of these categories, which, when it came to magic, could be bad. Sajay stood up, but moaned from the effort. Jade looked at his bandaged wound, and a thought occurred to her. Before anything else, she had to prove that she had magic. She had read a lot of books on the subject and knew how it was used in its various applications. She held her hand to Sajay's wound and concentrated. She could feel the energy flowing out of her hand and into his body. She stopped and pulled off the bandage and saw his body had healed. She knew she had to ask now. "Sajay," began Jade, "how can I use magic now all of a sudden? I've never had the potential for it before, but now I can use it?" Sajay took a deep breath. "When you woke up this morning, did you have a mark on your hand?" Jade's shock reaction was all the answer he needed. "Pack a bag," he added. "We're leaving." "Why?" "You're not safe here. I will escort you to Fort Battlestar where we can meet up with your father. I'll explain more later, but what you need to know right now is that there are forces out to get you." Jade went into her room and packed a bag of supplies. She also equipped it some of her mother's old enchanted silk. As she was leaving the room, she looked at the wall above her bed. There was a sword her father gave her from his days as an Atlantean guard. The metal was said to be stronger than normal steel. She took it off the wall, sheathed it, and strapped it at her waist. She went back into the main room as Sajay was staring out the window. He had pulled out his scepter and wore an angry look on his face. "What's wrong?" "Someone's coming," replied Sajay gravely. There was a knock at the door, and Sajay opened it, only to reveal an empty doorway. "I cannot believe you did not lock the windows," said a voice from behind. Jade turned around to see a woman dressed in armor and a purple cape fastened with an amber jewel. She had a sword at each hip and wore a fierce expression on her face. But despite all these intimidating features, her eyes had the kindest look in them as they made contact with Jade's. Most people knew this woman as General Kendra the Fearless of the Atlantean Council. But Jade knew her as "Auntie Kendra!" squealed Jade in delight as she ran and gave her aunt a great big hug. "It's been so long!" "Nice to see you again, kid," said a pleased Kendra. She then turned her attention to Sajay and said, "Don't you have someone to find?" "Found her," said Sajay, simply looking at Jade. Kendra looked at Jade with a look of shock, but then smiled and said, "My brother is not gonna like this." "What brings you here?" "The council. I'm headed back when I'm done here," said Kendra. "I took care of the guys tailing you, but it won't be long till they come looking this way. Get moving and don't stop for more 2 hours at a time, until you get to Godric Spire. I just wanted to wish you good luck." Kendra headed to the door and stopped. "Tell Arda a law has just been passed to execute anyone even trying to enter Atlantis who has been banished." She then left the house and went out into the woods without another word. Jade could tell that this was it. She was also leaving. She took one last look around her house and felt like she would never again be here, in the place she had always called home. As she left the house and closed the door, she was also closing the door on her life as she knew it. Sajay started walking and she followed, taking her first steps into an unknown destiny.